Jannik Sinner can't stop winning at the moment. Another title for him, unbeaten in 2024. This time Rotterdam. Carlos Alcaraz though, he's struggling for the titles after Wimbledon, but he's raking in that dough.
He is indeed, and somebody who isn't struggling for a win, Iga Swiatek back on top form, winning in Qatar, and she's done it 3 times back to back, the first person ever to do it. Will she be able to do it again in Dubai though?
Yeah, this is the countdown to Roland Garros. Not long to go now, and we're going to be looking at who can win this year's Roland Garros.
Novak Djokovic has won the Australian Open. 35 matches unbeaten. He's done it! Carlos Alcaraz! Djokovic has won Wimbledon. He wins his 14th Roland Garros title.
Hey, we're back again. Another episode of The Countdown. How are you, JG, this week? It has been a good week of tennis. I've enjoyed some of it. We've got to see some of your beloved clay court back again. It's the strange time, isn't it, when we get the clay court swing that comes just after the hard court swing, and then there's clay and hard courts going on at the same time.
Yeah.
You've been
and
enjoying
the big
it?
events are going to be hard court before we get to Roland Garros. But this, we're going to be focusing on who we think can do well at Roland Garros. There is 97 days to go, as you can see on the graphic. So still quite a long time and plenty of other big events to go. On the question of how I'm doing very, very well, thank you. I've been watching a lot of tennis. Work's been a little bit slower. So it's given me more time to keep up to speed with all of the latest tennis news. And the tennis news consists of Jannik Sinner and more Jannik Sinner. I don't know if you agree, but I feel like all I'm seeing is him, and it's just hard to ignore him because he's not lost in 2024 and just won another title. I covered the match the other day by myself because you never turned up. You went walking and never come back. And
Got lost.
And he beat a really top player in Alex de Minaur. And I'm starting to see shades of Novak Djokovic and Jannik Sinner more than any other of the big 3 players. The reason being is he's winning quite effortlessly. And I'm watching him and I'm thinking, it's pretty good, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, wow. He's just getting everything done and winning matches. Alex de Minaur's top player. He's hardly losing all year. And yet he just wins it. Carlos Alcaraz, I feel like his game has to exert a lot more into it to get some kind of result. And it's not probably a sustainable model like the Jannik Sinner model. Jannik Sinner is very German in the way he plays. It's efficient, effective, to the point. A bit like what Djokovic is. I feel like he is a very efficient player. Gets that serve going, saves big moments with his serve. Brilliant at saving break points. Jannik Sinner does the same. And it's clinical tennis. He's Italian, but he's very German in the way he plays.
Yeah, a bit of German engineering in there. Maybe a bit like a Audi or a BMW. We have to compare him to a car brand. Very reliable, let's say, and definitely was very reliable in that final. He seemed to, like you said, dispatch somebody who was playing unbelievable tennis in Alex de Minaur, having a great tournament, but he did it with what looked like ease. I mean, it wasn't ease, but it was just ease at the right moments. Like you said, like the Djokovic's do, the Nadal's. You just turn it on for the business end and you win the match. And you win it in straight sets as well, which is even more impressive because the Jannik Sinner, I know we keep saying of a couple of years ago, probably wouldn't have won that match in straight sets, and he might have struggled through and gone to 3, may even have lost the match. We don't know. But this Jannik Sinner is a completely changed person, and I think he's absolutely fantastic that he just keeps winning. This is exactly what we wanted to see from the back end of last year. He's continued it this year, and now he's had his maiden Grand Slam win, and something that Alcaraz didn't really do after his maiden one, which was continue winning after it. And that Alcaraz dropped off a bit after his US Open win, if you remember rightly, and Sinner hasn't. He just continued winning. But maybe it's the time of year.
He dropped off a little bit. I mean, then went on to win Wimbledon and some other big events as well. I wouldn't say it was that big. He's yet to win a title, though, since the Wimbledon one against Djokovic, and that is the big surprise for me. But it's not panic stations. No one needs to be panicked about Carlos Alcaraz. He's 20 years old. He's won 2 Grand Slams. Give the kid a break. I mean, I think he's going to come good and win plenty more as well. This is the updated Jannik Sinner stat. So, of course, he is now 3 in the world, overtaking Daniil Medvedev. And after the Beijing puke, which was quite famous, I think we've got an image down below. We'll go to that in a second.
Oh, great.
He is now 29 wins, 3 losses, which is 90.6%. He's 12-1 versus top 10 players. He's 8-1 versus Djokovic, Alcaraz, Medvedev. And I think that's a very important stat because them 3 are not top 10 players. They're kind of their own breed within the top 10 because they're just so much better than the other 7.
Yeah, the top 4.
They're just massive in the way they play. He's won Beijing and Vienna. He's got to the final of the ATP finals. He's won the Davis Cup for Italy and carried the whole country through that. Won the Australian Open, now won Rotterdam, and at his career high of number 3. And here we go. This is the sick incident in China against Dimitrov.
I think if this is what it takes to get that type of run going, he'll be seeing a few other players getting over to Beijing and finding themselves a bin come the back end of 2024. I might even go over there and see if I can reignite my tennis career, but who knows? I think that don't read anything into just being sick in a bin, but it is weird that you have like one of these things happen and then this like long crazy run of form after it. I think it was just a matter of time before it clicked for him, and I don't think the bin sick was where it clicked, but I feel that it was just like that match was significant. I feel that beating Medvedev was significant in the whole thing. That's the catalyst for him becoming a great player now, not just a good player.
I think that's probably the catalyst more than any of them. Reason being, he's always shown he can go toe-to-toe with Alcaraz and beat him and have really tight matches even when he loses. He was 0-6 with Daniil Medvedev and lost a lot of finals against him. And now he's just turned that whole head-to-head around and looks like he's winning it every single time. So that was just so big. And the fact that he was able to then beat Medvedev, being able to beat Djokovic, I think, at the ATP finals just showed like, okay, now this kid's here to play. He's one of the big dogs. And I just find, I keep saying it, he's just such a clinical tennis player. I don't know where the loss is going to come. People were saying it in the live chat. He's now going to be playing, I believe, 7th of March. I'm not sure what event that is. Around that time, beginning of March.
I think that's, is it Indian Wells?
Most likely, yeah. That's going to be when we're next going to see him on our screens.
Don't blame him.
And I think he's favourite. I put him as my favourite to win the whole thing. Above Medvedev, above Djokovic, Nadal, if he plays. Alcaraz, I think Sinner is the one to beat there.
I think it's quite interesting, though, like you were saying about... I'm just going to bring this up just because I thought it's quite interesting. Obviously, Daniil Medvedev chose not to play in Rotterdam and defend his title. And I'm only just thinking of this now. I think that he would have been in that final again. And I think it would have been Daniil Medvedev versus Jannik Sinner again. Do you think Daniil's trying to save himself a little bit of the mental crush that another final against Jannik Sinner, another defeat, this Sinner run that's going at the moment, he doesn't probably want to play Jannik Sinner. Like Alex de Minaur, they have some similarities, these two players, in probably the fact that both of them have probably written this to him, I reckon. I don't like you, says Alex de Minaur. And this is because of the record, isn't it, that he holds against against Alex de Minaur. It's just crazy, isn't it?
0-7, I believe, now.
Yeah, just crazy.
And there was people talking about how is this going to be a little bit like a Medvedev-Sinner rivalry, where it was 0-6 and now de Minaur turns it around. And this was the match where he could have turned it around and did exactly what Sinner did to Medvedev. And that was quite an interesting dynamic going into this. It didn't happen. De Minaur, though, brilliant. Really played some good stuff. It was so close in spells, but Sinner just took them big moments a little bit better and saved all the break points. He has chances for de Minaur, and he's a top 10 player now. And you say that you think Medvedev would have been in that final. I'm not so sure. I think if he was to face de Minaur, it could have been a really 50-50 match because de Minaur, I believe, has recently beat Medvedev.
Yeah, Dimonor, and he's just recently beaten Djokovic as well. So it's just like he's one of the informed players. So yeah, it's not a given, but I still feel Medvedev in Rotterdam. He's just
I know what you
so
mean.
good there. That does suit his game, hence being the champion. But you never know. Like maybe mentally he wasn't ready to come back on court again, and I don't blame him for taking some time off. I think it is a bit soul crushing losing yet another Slam final in 5 sets again, but. I like the fact that he didn't play it because we got to see Alex de Minaur and what he was sort of made of in this tournament. He defeated Andrei Rublev. You could have made the case for Rublev that it was open for him to maybe step up and then take this tournament or get to the final. He didn't. And we got to see Alex de Minaur do it. You called him to win it, but one step away, wasn't he? Like the final, pretty close. So not bad prediction from you, though.
Yeah, it was okay. He will, I'm sure, be a contender for many more events, and certainly one who can do very well in the American swing coming up.
Yeah,
the
for
Sunshine
sure.
Double.
That's it. I mean, we've got new career highs because we're talking about obviously Jannik Sinner moving up to number 3. It should be noted Alex de Minaur, like you said, moving into the top 10, number 9 now. That's fantastic for him. I mean, it's great to see another young player like pushing their way into the top 10 and well deserved as well.
It's my biggest regret though from the start of the year. Do you know when we do our predictions?
Yeah.
I was tempted to put de
Umming and
Minaur in.
ahhing.
I was close. I just didn't do it, and that's one I think which is a mistake because I'll be shocked if he's not top 10 come the end of the year.
The one that got away, Alex de Minaur, quite possibly. Bublik, well, after what we said on last week's episode, oh yeah, he'll probably get past Raonic, lost to Raonic, and then, as we did say, Raonic went out injured, which I'm a bit sad for Raonic, but I don't see him lasting the tournament. This is the problem. He's good for a match or two, but he can't last. But that body's
He's good for a set.
shot.
That's it. Yeah, the body's done. Raonic, I feel, is better off if he retires. I'm sure he can play for himself, but he's never going to win anything at all. Just there to make up the numbers. Let's save the thoughts about Diaz Acosta because we can speak about him in latest news.
Yes.
I've got plenty to say, and he was a champion in the event which Carlos Alcaraz should have won, but we'll speak about that in more detail in a second. Let's move on to the next one you've got there.
Yeah, this one talking about Jannik Sinner and says that he respects money and always looks at the price before buying anything. And it was asked to him, what relationship do you have with money today? And he said, before buying something, I always look at the price. Always. If I go to a restaurant and the pasta with meat sauce costs much more than the one with tomato sauce, I'll take the one with tomato sauce. Not because I'm stingy, but because I respect money. This is interesting. And then the last little bit says, the only gift I gave myself is the car, an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Q4 Veloce, is that right?
Veloce, means fast in Italian.
Okay, got it. Right, there you go. Well, he's driving a fast car. It's a nice car, but you don't think of a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, or a Maserati.
Yeah, and if you go down, you can see the car. Very humble, Jannik Sinner. He just likes his Alfa Romeo. He's there cleaning the tyres or the wheels or the spokes, whatever it is. The spokes is on bikes. What's it called in a car?
I don't know. It sort of is, isn't it? Isn't that what it's called? Just like the alloy wheels?
Yeah, there we
You
go.
can have spokes.
I'm not really into cars, so I don't know the right terminology. But there he is,
Cue
cleaning
people in the
something.
comments. They're like, oh my God, the most clueless car people.
But I love his attitude towards money. I think it's great. I don't find that is stingy. I think nowadays, in this Instagram, TikTok era, with the Andrew Tates of these worlds, promoting this lavish lifestyle, and that's the only way you need to be successful. I think it's a load of nonsense. I don't understand why anyone would really want a big flash car or to be going extreme with money in ways which aren't necessary. I don't think it makes you happier. Some people, I'm sure it do, but are they doing it for themselves or are they doing it to present themselves as someone who they're not? Because at the end of the day, you'll never see someone with a flash car who doesn't post it on social media, or you see them with a steering wheel with their watch and they put that on their thing. It's because it's not about them having it. They're not enjoying it themselves. They just love the fact that people are watching them with it.
Yeah,
It brings you, or if you're trying to get a different type of women who are like that kind of thing, if you're a guy,
You hit the nail on the head.
It's never really for you. That's my opinion. And with the food, it sometimes don't get me wrong. Go for the most expensive thing, but other times, just value money. I don't think that's too stingy.
Sometimes I think food can only cost so much money, and I think that I would probably be the same as him if I go to a place and then they're just overcharging. I just think that that's just not worth that. Despite like how much money he has, I get it. Like it's just like I don't want to pay that. I know it's not worth that, so I'll just order the cheaper thing on the menu because I don't know. I don't know if it is stingy. I just think I know what's worth what. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I was really rich, I wouldn't pay over the odds for something basic. For example, a haircut. I wouldn't have a £1,000 haircut, which some people do.
That was always the classic, wasn't it? I remember there was always the comparison of David Beckham and Johnny Wilkinson, and they said that David Beckham is like had his hair cut a few times a week, and it was £500 a time. And they said Johnny Wilkinson's was £10. You just go down the local barber, just get it cut, and that's the difference between an England rugby player and an England football player.
Yeah, ridiculous. But no, I think it's very telling of his character and the way he is as a person, and I think this goes a long way in becoming a real superstar.
Yeah, I think
especially in tennis.
Yeah, I really do.
More so in tennis than other sports, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those sports where you don't so much get that. It's not like the footballer lifestyle, is it? Or like the NBA player lifestyle. They're a little bit more reserved. I think because they're traveling so much as well, you don't get to see them in one place. Like when you play for a football team or something like that, you're always in that one city for half the year, let's say. But yeah, these players, they're everywhere all the time. I mean, probably the best thing to probably get yourself would be a jet. Get yourself around a bit quicker, but it's bad for the environment. That'll probably be the next thing that comes up. But anyway, I was just going to bring up the rankings just so you could see how Sinner's faring. And he's just squidged past Daniil Medvedev there by 5 points on the ATP points rankings.
Yeah, it's a matter of time for me until he becomes number one. Talking about Roland Garros specifically, he's not defending hardly any points there. He flopped last year. I think he went out in the second round or something against, who was it? The German guy, Altmaier. So if he can get sort of semi-finals, quarter-finals, he'll instantly be gaining points. So I just feel like he's going to get closer and closer to that number one. And it's a matter of time until he's number one in the world. I'll be surprised come the end of Roland Garros if he isn't one or two. But my prediction is he's going to be number one in the world come the end of Roland Garros.
Yeah, what do you make of everybody else who's sort of in and around that top 10 there? I mean, is there anybody that you... Oh, yeah, it should be noted as well. Stefanos Tsitsipas has fallen outside the top 10 now as well. That's quite a big one. It could bring us on to another tweet, which I thought was really interesting. I heard this one, I think it was during one of the matches, but then you've actually found the tweet for it, which is brilliant. And it's to do with single-handed backhand players. Yep. And this should be noted. I think you should take us through this one. The new top 10. Yep.
And it is, there's no top 10 with one-handed backhand players for the first time ever. Very pivotal moment, I think, in tennis. I think it is the higher risk strategy, the one-handed backhand. I think Federer,
breed.
Yeah, he perfected it so well. He just motivated everyone to try and do it. But look at Musetti now. Look at Tsitsipas. It's just hard to be as consistent as these other players with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think consistency is the key, and we've seen the likes of Tsitsipas. And one of the main things we associate with the Tsitsipas backhand is the shank. And that's the problem with it. It's not consistent. Stan Wawrinka, that was a consistent one, but he's a little bit past it now. Dominic Thiem was probably the one who was going to be carrying the torch, but then unfortunately the wrist injury led to him now. He's not even competitive, and very sad. I think that Thiem would have been the main one who could have probably led the charge for single-handed backhanders, but unfortunately there's none of them. I think that it's only going to be double-handed backhanders from here on out, and I don't really see who can challenge, who has a single-hander these days. Not the top players anyway.
No, I don't see anyone. I thought Musetti was going to get in the top 10. Was it last year? he's just not playing very well. He lost easily against Zhang. So, yeah, he's done. One name to mention, Runo's having a really torrid time. Got rid of his coach, another coach. Some more losses against random players who he should be beating. Not random players, just players he should be beating. It's probably a bit harsh. And I wouldn't be that shocked as a bit of a big call if we see him outside the top 10 come the end of the year and we see someone like a Tommy Paul replace him.
Yeah. I mean,
bring up the rankings, the one you had a second ago.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. Obviously, we've just had the final in, was it Dallas as well? And that was Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz. So I think that those two, they're sort of challenging each other a little bit when it comes to that similar level, I would say, when it comes to big matches. I mean, I would say Taylor Fritz is more consistent throughout the year, but when it comes to bigger tournaments, I feel like Tommy Paul steps up quite a lot.
Yeah. And do you remember that famous video we did about 3 years ago? And I was saying to you, Tommy Paul can play on clay courts. This is when he was pretty unknown, come through the qualifiers. Yes. And we had a little argument, and I was saying that he can play on clay, and you was like, no, he can't play on clay. He actually did all right.
You said he was junior, like, Roland Garros champion or something.
I don't know, but I definitely went quite big on that episode. I don't remember now. Maybe that is true. If I said it, it's true. I never lie, Ben. So, Tommy Paul, coming up to the clay court stuff, he could still do some damage, and that's why I'm tipping him to be someone who could replace a Holger inside that top 10. All the others seem to be doing quite well, and I think they'll be there or thereabouts. But I like the likes of a Tommy Paul or a Grigor Dimitrov more so than Holger Rune right now. He needs to definitely step it up about 5 gears.
Yeah, I mean, I thought...
Because he's the most disappointing there, him and Tsitsipas. But Tsitsipas hasn't played.
I thought it was just Logan Paul's brother, so, to be honest, when I first saw his name, but apparently not. It's actually a very decent tennis player. And look at all these Americans. Look at them all littered together in there. We've got Shelton, TFO and Paul all next to each other, 14, 15, 16 in the rankings. And then Taylor Fritz at number 10. So Americans having a good run in the rankings, but not really cracking the top of the game yet. But I'm not sure if they will either.
They're very good in America. We've got a good tweet from Bastian Facken showing how good the Americans do. New York, Opelka 2019 champion. Delray Beach, Opelka. Dallas, Opelka. Indian Wells, Fritz. Houston, Opelka. Delray Beach, Fritz. Atlanta, Fritz. Dallas, Paul. Delray Beach, Fritz. So they just seem to dominate them events. And
like
that
it's only
trio,
Americans playing them, though.
You've got the picture of the trio there if you go down. Smashing it. USA, look at them go. And we've got some American events coming up. The Sunshine Double. Are we going to see one of these, the US or the A, winning one of the Sunshine Double, or even both?
They're a bit funny as well, because it's hard to gauge how tall they are as well there, because obviously Opelka, I don't know if he looks very young, but he's still probably 6'5" or something there, I reckon. Taylor Fritz is 6'5" as an adult, yeah. So I don't know how tall he is there. Maybe he's 6 foot there. I don't know. It's a bit of a crazy one. And Tommy Paul, I think he's below both of them by a long shot these days, I think. What is he, about 6'1" or something, Tommy Paul?
Yeah.
But yeah, they tower. Well, Opelka definitely towers over all of them. But we've not seen him for a while. Hopefully the big server will be back soon. Just before we get into the latest news, just want to touch on, obviously, we had a champion back to winning ways on the women's side. It was Iga Swiatek, and she got it done against Rybakina, her nemesis. This is the person that she's lost to 3 out of the last 3 times. It looked like the bogey player. And it looked like in the start of that final, it was going to be the bogey player again. But Iga dug deep, and she managed to pull herself back from a big deficit. I think 4-1 down in the first set. And then there was a little bit of an injury for Rybakina, but it was just a scrape, really. She hit herself with the racket and then just had to get a plaster and stuff put on it. But Iga came back, played really well, and managed to take that first set, and then after that I think it was just plain sailing. She went on to claim her 3rd in a row a Doha title. I thought it was amazing. The first person ever in history to win 3 in a row, and brilliant for her confidence against Rybakina as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to me in 2024. Maybe because I've just watched so much tennis over the years, but I feel my predictions have actually been very, very good all year. Like I'm pretty much got my finger on the pulse on everything. I'm getting everything kind of right or right or 100% right in some cases in the Australian Open. But this one is one I can put my hands on. So I completely got it wrong, and it really surprised me because I was pretty certain that Rybakina was going to win this one going into it. And it was one of them ones where I thought that Iga, she wasn't going to win it this time round. Rybakina always seems to have her number. And it's shown a different dynamic, I feel, of Iga's game, that she's able to come back from that level of adversity against a player who beats her regularly. And it makes me think that if she is to face, say, an Ostapenko, because I have a vision it's going to happen early doors at Roland Garros, I think she'll beat her easily. And that is off the back of this result here. It's given me now confidence that Iga will beat Ostapenko next time they play. So that's all I'm going to throw out there. And this is one I've got wrong massively. But of course, very pleased for Iga. And I think it makes it a little bit more interesting, if anything, at the top, because it creates that air of unpredictability between the three of them.
Yeah.
And I just don't know which way it's going to go.
Well, Ostapenko, she could face Iga in Dubai, but it probably would have to be, I think it would be a semi-final if they were to meet. That's the only way place in the draw they could meet. But you got to remember, in Dubai, Sabalenka is going to be at the bottom of that draw as well. We do have Rybakina there as well. It's going to be tough because the courts are a lot faster in Dubai, and if she was to come up against Ostapenko, this is probably not the tournament to come up against her in. So who knows though? Iga, she's turned a corner, I feel, mentally. I feel that even though she's so good, she still is finding ways to improve her game, and I think it's great to see.
Right, let's move on to the next section, which is latest news. Here we go, latest news. We've spoke about a lot of the latest news, but this is one story I really wanted to speak about, and it is Carlos Alcaraz. Do you want to start?
Yeah, go on then. Let's get this one going. Is it about these tattoos that he seems to have?
Yeah, we can start with that. So, Carlos Alcaraz now has 2 tattoos. On his arm, he's got one which has 11:09:22 for his US Open title. On his leg, 16:07:23 for the Wimbledon title. And that one's a strawberry. And the one thing I was going to pose to you, is he going to get one for every single Grand Slam? Because imagine if he does win, say, something like 15, 20 Grand Slams. Does that mean he's going to have 15 different tattoos? Or every Wimbledon, does he just extend the dates off the strawberry?
It's a good
Or
point.
does he create a strawberry tree with different vines coming off it and then different strawberries?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe there's like, so they can do something with it. Maybe he's got something in his head planned. It did make me think of something funny that I was going to potentially do when you sent me this, and I just thought, I'm just going to make a meme out of this. Like make a Djokovic picture next to him, fully tattooed, like the whole thing. He's got sleeves, he's got his whole body like covered in tattoos. But yeah, I think maybe I'll still go ahead and make that.
That's quite
if
a
I
good
get
one,
some
yeah.
time. Yeah, but I'll wait and see. But yeah, if he keeps going, imagine Alcaraz gets to a crazy number of slam titles. He's gonna have a full on like leg sleeve or something by the end, isn't he? Won't be allowed back in Wimbledon. But he's got these tattoos for winning tournaments, but he wasn't able to win this tournament this past week. He actually went out to Jarry, somebody you're a big fan of. I think there's quite a big following for Jarry as well online. I've seen a lot of videos with his name in it. Seem to get quite a number of views as well.
Maybe, but certainly wasn't in where they was playing in Argentina. What was it? In the place.
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires. He was not popular at all, Jarry, because every single match I feel like he played an Argentinian or Alcaraz, and everyone was supporting Alcaraz in that one, and all the others were supporting all the Argentinian players. So every match everyone was going against him, and thankfully to Sky Sports Tennis, I'm getting to watch a lot more of these matches. Like I said at the start, I've watched a lot. I watched the semi, I watched the final, I watched some of the first round matches, and I didn't think Alcaraz played that badly. He had some good drop shots at times, but Jarry killed him, and Jarry can do that. So I'm not going to really beat Alcaraz up at all. But there is some interesting things to mention here, and that is that Alcaraz has actually been making quite a bit of cash. And I don't know how much you know about this, but in that last event, Alcaraz was making $300,000 per match.
Wow.
Because he had an appearance fee for going of 900,000, and he only got 3 matches, I believe.
Wow, that's pretty hefty.
So it works out 300,000 a match.
It explains why they added the extra stand as well. You got to get that money in. Obviously, he was the main attraction going in there, and you know that you're going to get the packed stands as well with the Argentinians. So many Argentinians playing in this event. You had Echeverri in there as well. You obviously Diaz Acosta, the eventual winner, an incredible first title for him. You had Correa, Sebastian Baez. Any other ones? Oh, Ugo Carabelli as well. He was playing against Alcaraz early on in the tournament. Yeah, really good tournament though.
So, are you worried? Are you worried for Carlos Alcaraz? Does any of this concern you? The fact that he's not won something since Wimbledon.
I feel that it's just a little bit of a dip at the moment. I feel that the fact that Sinner's doing so well is putting a lot of pressure on him, and I feel that he's feeling the pressure that he was thinking he should be the next number one that's going to take over, and Sinner's sort of taken that away at the moment.
He's stolen the limelight big time.
Yeah, definitely. And Sinner's moved now onto, like, instead of going straight onto the clay courts like Alcaraz has done here, he's just gone straight back to what he knows. He's gone back onto those hard courts again because he knows that Rotterdam, no Medvedev, he was in the final last year anyway, probably going to go and win that, did win it, and now he's going to focus on Indian Wells and Miami. Could he do the Sunshine Double, Jannik Sinner? This is something that he's going to be lined up. Imagine he does that. Alcaraz is going to
Djokovic is going to be there, man.
Well,
and
exactly.
And Alcaraz. So that should be awesome. I'm really fascinated to see all of these ones playing against each other.
Pressure's on Alcaraz right now, though.
Is he the 4th best player in the world?
No. I wouldn't say 4th best.
He probably is. I disagree.
I'd say 3rd best.
What, you put Medvedev below him?
I still would, yeah.
That's so stupid, man. Honestly, it is so stupid.
No, but I'm talking across all surfaces.
No, we're not talking about that. I'm talking about now in the conditions and the tournaments we're going to be playing. So forget the clay courts. Talking about the Sunshine Double, is he the 4th best player there?
Given his performances at like in Miami before, no, I don't think he would be. I think that he's had very convincing wins in Miami. Indian Wells, maybe he would be the 4th. I'd say if he goes to Miami, I think it'd be higher up though.
Yeah, I think you're being disrespectful to Medvedev massively.
I look at the mental side of the game a lot.
I put Medvedev above Djokovic.
I don't. I mean, I think that's crazy. You think I'm crazy? I think that's crazy.
Okay,
I feel that
but that's how I feel.
The mental side of the game is such a big side of it, and I feel that Daniel's got a lot to overcome.
The last time you saw Djokovic, he got dismantled by Jannik Sinner in the semi-final.
Last time I saw Djokovic, he was having like one of his off matches that he has once every 5 years. So he's allowed to have that one match. So when he comes back, I expect him not to have another off match for another like few years. So hopefully we're going to see grade A Djokovic back and he can keep winning again for a long period. But at least now Sinner has the confidence that he can take it to him, and Djokovic has to play his best tennis to beat Sinner. There's no gimmies anymore against these players who flop just because they play the big players. You have to beat them now, and Djokovic doesn't have that like luxury, let's say, of just walking in. If he'd have walked in and played somebody like a Rublev, he'd have still beaten him on that day. That's a fact. I'm sorry, it's horrible to accept if you're someone like that, but Jannik Sinner's not one of those players anymore.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comment section, guys. What do you make of it? What is your top 4 in order for the Sunshine Double coming up? And also Roland Garros as well. Does anyone have some early indicators or picks who could do well? Wow. On that, do you feel Diaz Acosta has a good shot? Because in the past, he was a 75 in the world type player. And now I believe he's moved. Well, but the reason, so this is fascinating. Some people were talking about it on Twitter. If you are a challenger player, because before he won this event, he'd only ever won 2 ATP matches in his career.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
I don't know if you can notice, I've got a lot of numbers and stats at the moment because I have been watching a lot of tennis this week, more
Sky
so than
Sports.
any other week. Sky Sports has been
Loves
there. And it's been really fun, I must admit. I feel for once I'm very knowledgeable about everything because I've had the time to be able to watch it, which is great.
I'm shocked. What's going on? It's bamboozling.
I forgot what I was going to say now. But yeah, but in the Challengers Tour, it's wild that someone who's won only 2 matches on the ATP circuit is 75 in the world prior to winning this. Now he's something like 50 in the world or 40 something, 40, 50.
I'll have a look.
And
59.
what that goes to show is if you are a top challenger player who can consistently do well in the challengers, you will be on the fringes automatically for automatic qualification to Grand Slams. So these clay court players who are quite good, who are there or thereabouts, who are winning challengers, like the likes of Adelian, Varias, these guys in the past, maybe not so much now, the Echeverries, Correa, I can name loads of them, Baez, beer all day because I love them.
all the Argentinians.
Yeah. These guys, by consistently doing very well at challengers, they then was able to then get into main draw events. And then from there, because they've got that game, I think you can transfer it onto other surfaces with the time and practice. Like what Francisco Cerundolo did. He was a prime example. Then cemented himself as a top player. Karatsev did it too. And I think he is one of them people who have done that exact same thing. So you'd be looking at, after this title now, he's got into an ATP event. He's won the title, an ATP 250, in a court which is, after the match, I was watching him with all of his coaches and family. So emotional. Crying.
Yeah,
he is from Buenos Aires. I don't know if you know. And
amazing.
that court is only a stone's throw away from where he lives. So he's probably played on that court a few times, I'm sure, before this. And for him to win that there was such a moment. Imagine winning something where someone you've lived your whole life. And every single edition of that event, there's been some iconic players who have won it over the years. He's been there, I'm sure, watching the final. And he was now there watching it, playing it rather than watching it, with his family watching him. And
Exactly.
I thought that was special. And he's now in contention to be straight into Roland Garros. I'll be surprised if he's not. And on that basis, how far can he go?
Well, it's exciting. Don't forget, not too long ago, in the first round of the Australian Open, he actually took Taylor Fritz to 5 sets. So he started the year with a pretty good result. Bear in mind, Taylor Fritz, he knocked out Stefanos Tsitsipas as well. The only person that could stop Fritz was Djokovic, and he took Fritz to 5. So he started this. That result seemed like, Fritz maybe just wasn't playing that great. It looks like Diaz Acosta really coming to the forefront this year. It's someone who's been on the radar for a few years here on GTL. I'd say 4 years, to be honest. I remember saying to you, look, this guy, he has a very crazy style of forehand. It's a very odd motion, but it works. It's effective, and I absolutely love it.
Sorry, I got distracted looking at this. I can't believe it. Dominic Thiem is on there at 33-1. That is absolutely wild. How is he on the front page to win Roland Garros? They've just gone down and looked, he's done quite well before. Like, Rublev is below Dominic Thiem to win Roland Garros.
Madness.
How stupid can they be? I'm sorry, that is ridiculous.
Alex de Minaur, 80.
I'd prefer Cam Norrie over Dominic Thiem 100 times over.
Well, Rio champion. He's going for it again. Obviously, last year defeated Carlos Alcaraz in the final in Rio, and he's going to defend his title this week, Cam Norrie. Taking a look down this list, I'm trying to see if Diaz Acosta's made it in. So he even made it into this.
He'll probably be in the 200s.
We've got Prismic is in there. Well, just because he did well at the last...
they've not popped him in.
No, he's not even in there. There you go. That's good. No knowledge.
He's probably 200s or so. But Carlos Alcaraz favourite, Djokovic second favourite, Sinner third, Nadal fourth. What do you make of that?
There's a little boost there.
What do you make of them top 4 in that order for Roland Garros?
I still think Alcaraz favourite for me is just I feel that's how are you putting him favourite? Like at the moment, like as well.
Who's your favourite? Djokovic?
I think it'd have to be, wouldn't it?
No, it's not. Not for me, it's not.
Who's the favourite? Rafa?
Not Djokovic. Rafa's my favourite.
Well, you can take him on then, 5.5.
I don't care. It's Roland Garros. Rafa will always... I don't care. However old he is, whenever he enters it, call me delusional, call me any name you want, he will always be the favourite to win Roland Garros. I find it laughable that he's fourth on there. He should be number one. Should be 1.8.
Just have to hope he doesn't draw Jordan Thompson in the first round.
Jannik Sinner should be higher than Djokovic.
Well, it's clay though. It's different.
Jannik Sinner can play on the clay.
Yeah, but we haven't seen this Sinner yet on the clay. I can't wait to see it. I mean, will he win?
It'd be good. I hope he's really good.
Yeah, I think he will be. I don't think that he's was ever bad on the clay courts. That's the thing. I feel that it's just another extension this is going to be, and we're going to get to see how deep he's going to go at Roland Garros now. Incredible. Should we have a quick look at the women's one as well, just while we're here? And shock! Iga's favourite. Take her at evens there.
Yeah, this one not as shocking. Rebecca obviously not as good on the clay. And it feels a bit like a two-horse race between Iga and Saba, this event. With Iga, the big favourite. She wins it quite often. And I'll be surprised if she doesn't win. You've got Mira Andreeva, super high.
I mean, too soon for that sort of odds, surely.
I think Ostapenko's where there's some good money at.
Had admire.
Suspect results recently. She's annoying me.
How is Mukova up that high? She's injured. She's not even playing.
Where's Muguruza? Is she anywhere around?
She's off somewhere else in the world, Thailand or something. Just doing a bit. That might be worth a little punt. Old Noskova.
What about Sakkari, the Grand Slam queen?
I don't think she's even in here, is she?
Yeah, she is. Go down 40 to 41.
Oh, 40 to 1. I mean, yeah, I
Put
think
£10 on, lose £10 on Maria Sakkari. That's how it goes.
Brilliant stuff.
Anyway, let's wrap up the latest news. We had a few stories there. Let us know if there's any stories we missed, and we will comment after the video. But the last or penultimate section is the tennis shootout. Right, so I think I'll go first today with my question, seeing as you went first last time. This is where me and Ben ask each other a trivia question, see if we can get it right. So cue the music, and I'll get my question ready.
I'll get the music ready. I've got the timer that actually lasts 30 seconds this time. I think the other one was lasting a bit too long. Right.
It's a very fitting question, actually. Right, we've just been speaking about Iga Swiatek and her performances at Roland Garros. My question to you is, how many matches has she lost at Roland Garros? If you want a bonus point, tell me how many she won. But the first part of the question is, how many has Iga lost at Roland Garros? Go.
I'm trying to think how many times she's played at Roland Garros. I know that she won it in 2020. She won it in 2022, 2023. What happened in 2021? I'm trying to... Was there a loss there? I'm going to go with twice. That's what I'm going to go with 2.
And for a bonus point, how many wins?
Oh. I would go with 28.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It is correct.
What?
It's 28 wins and 2 losses.
What? No way.
Did you cheat?
No, literally. I just guessed at the 28.
Bit dodgy, that. I don't know how you got that spot on.
No, literally.
You've seen that earlier. You cheated.
No, literally a pure guess.
Like, well, let us know in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think Ben just cheated there on on the section, or did you do well? I'm going to congratulate you and say very well done.
For that, I'll tell you my workings on it. I just thought 3 tournament wins. So then I thought just add on another number onto that, however far you think she's gone before. So I just thought, all right, add a 7 on. So I was like, there you go, 28. That was my working.
Why 7?
I don't know. That's why I just thought I'd just add another 7 on. Because I thought it would be 7, 7, and 7. But anyway.
Yeah, but you lost in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know how many other matches there were.
Okay, well, there we go. You got it right anyway, so well done, Ben. 2 points there. So I physically can't beat you unless you give me a 2-pointer. I don't think I deserved to after you got that.
I mean, pretty crazy. This one, I could go... I could make it a two-parter, I guess, just to give you the option of 2 points, because I was going to try and work out a question, but I didn't quite get the exact question. But I'm going to make it up as I go, this question.
Just like you do on the pod.
Pretty much, yeah. So, you've just been talking about Iga Swiatek, so it's weird how I'm going to be asking you a question also about...
Oh, that's
Iga.
how you knew the answer.
Well, I knew she won the tournament 3 times. That's about it. That's the.
Was that the question you was going to ask? What I asked you? Is that how you knew it?
No,
Okay.
not at all. I was just something completely different. So, right, we know in 2020, Iga, she only dropped 28 games in winning the title. In 2022, she only dropped 35 games winning the title. How many games did she drop in 2023? And if you want a bonus point, tell me how many bakery items she got in the tournament as well.
Okay, just quickly, what was the first thing? 28 and 35.
Yeah.
28, 35. The question is, did she do as well as the first year or not? I don't think she did as well as the first year, but I think she did better than the second year. I think it's 32, and I think bakery items, there was loads. I mean, thinking of seven matches, so winning them all, she won them all straight sets. Thinking that be, I reckon 6 bakery items.
Whew. Right, so what were the final answers there?
32 and 6.
Unfortunately, both are incorrect.
What was closer?
It was 36 games that she dropped.
Okay.
And it was 5 bakery items. Oh, it was not too far off.
Not far on the bakery one.
Yeah, so she got gradually worse in dropping games, but 28 games is a bit hard to beat, I don't think, that 2021. But
yeah, I knew she didn't get as good as that, but I thought she got better than... So she didn't do as good as the one before.
No, but it's a bit surprising, actually. Like, that was one of the things that I was looking through, because obviously the times before, she... I think she dropped a set to Kim Win-jeng in the 2022 one, which was a tie-break. And the only set she dropped in this latest one was in the final to Mukova. But she did have one match against Serenko, which was only a 5-1 and then a retirement. So it was like... It's like one of those, like if it had been a full match, it probably would have been even more games. So bit of a weird question, but I thought it was quite an interesting one, just to see Iga and her dominance at Roland Garros.
There we go. Both questions were about Iga. Let us know if you got them right at home in the comments section. And let's move on to the last section, which is Q&A. This is where you guys, the subscribers, sent us some questions in, and me and Ben are going to answer them at the end of our countdown episode.
That is correct. I don't know how many questions that we had in on this one, but I was just looking through some of the comments from the last one, because I know that I did see Peter left one in there. So if we bring up the comment section of the last video that we did, hopefully there's no offensive comments as well. Right.
Oh, was there not a post for this one?
No, I didn't put out a post, but people were commenting in the comment section as we asked them to. So maybe have a look. There's one here which is speaking about Jannik Sinner. Oh no, that's speaking about him being number one is not the question.
There it is. Peter's one's there. If you go down to Q&A. So Q&A, what do you think the effects of the Saudi purchase of the rankings will be, if any? What do you think?
I I think it may affect some of the rankings, to be honest, because if this is going to affect some of the touring and people dropping out of tournaments to maybe go play this one for 6 million instead, I think it could play a factor. I think it's a good question to have asked, something I didn't even really consider, to be honest. I thought people would just add it to the tour. There could be people choosing to miss things just to play this event now. I think that we will see an impact. It may even affect somebody like a Holger Rune, because just bear in mind, this is a bigger amount of money for him, I would say, than some of the other players, because he hasn't been winning the slams or doing well at the slams. Or would you see maybe Rafa maybe just going in there for a payday, missing one of the bigger tournaments? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it will change a lot of sports. Because when money's involved, it's like it's done with football, it just changes the dynamic of things, and you just see a lot of players go to that league just for that, really. In terms of tennis, hopefully it can make the tour better, and I'm trying to answer this question in a positive tone, so I'm hoping that with the injection of cash, we're going to see better tennis for everyone.
Do you hope that then they get this passed as an actual ATP event or something like that, where more players can maybe qualify for it, like a mid-year tour finals style matchup where more players could qualify for it?
I guess so, but then I don't think that is what they enjoy. Like, people don't want to see that. People want to see the big names.
That's the problem. Yeah, but they'd more than likely qualify for it anyway.
I don't know, not necessarily. Not Rune, not Nadal at the moment, so... Yeah, they've definitely been protected. So moving on to the next one, I think there's one below. If you keep going down.
Keep going down.
Was there one? So we've got Tuzza here, or Tuz94 saying, I have a question. Do you guys think the seeding system at big tournaments such as slams is fair? Because I think it isn't. If you're seeded 25 to 32, you're guaranteed to be in the round of 32 section with a top 8 player, whether or not you will face them. Whereas if you're unseeded, there's a 50% chance the top 8 player will be in the round 16 section, and only a 25% chance you'll be in the round of 64 section with that top 8 player, and you play them in the first round. If I were a tennis player, I'd rather be unseeded than seeded 25 to 32 to have a better chance to make it to the round of 16.
That's really interesting.
I've never thought about it at all, so it is something I'll have to think about on the spin right now as you're asking me. It kind of makes sense what you're saying. I've never thought of it, but it makes sense. And maybe there is something you could do with that. I don't think it really has an impact on the outcome of an event, like who's going to get to a second week. But it certainly, with Grand Slams, there's so much money to win sort of 2 matches that in a situation like that, maybe it's better to be unseeded. And I never really thought about it.
Well, when you think about it, sometimes there are some of the draws, you get like 2 qualifiers pitted against each other, or you get a lucky loser against a qualifier, or like sometimes the draw when it's split out. Do you not think that you could potentially, when all the players are finalised, number all of them up and then drop them all in an even keel across the draw? That way no one could ever say like, oh, I can't believe I got put against like the first unseeded player. But then again, everyone's going to moan. People will be like, well, that's ruining it then. We like the drama of the fact that you could play somebody like who's really good in the first or second round, because that makes the tournament more interesting.
Are you saying there shouldn't be seeds at all?
No, I'm not saying shouldn't be seeds, but I'm just... Isn't this what this is suggesting, is that the only way to make it fair is if everybody was put into the draw based upon a number? Like that was how your difficulty of draw then.
No, you still have to have the seeds, Ben. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, but then all of the other players that are numbered...
You can't have number 1 playing number 2 in the first round.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, if you have all of the players split between the draw based upon where they're ranked, that's it.
Oh, okay. So you have more seeds?
Yeah, like 128 seeds.
No, I think it would work if you had... I think it could be better, maybe, if you have 64 seeds.
Yeah, could work.
I think 64 seeds could work.
Sounds ridiculous already, even just hearing you say it.
But I'd have to think about it a little bit more. And on that, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you, everyone, for joining this episode of The Countdown. If you haven't already, please smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, hit that bell notification if you want to see us when we go live next. We'll be covering some matches soon. And check us out on Spotify if you want to listen to us without seeing us.
Yeah, make sure put some more questions in the comment section. We'll answer them next week's episode.
Thanks for watching, and Forza Jannik Sinner. He goes again.